Today on That Type of Talk, we are thrilled to have Gui Agustini, the incredible talent bringing Sunspot to life in the much anticipated revival of X-Men 97. Gui is a dynamic actor known for his vibrant portrayals and deep connection to his roles, stepping into the world of Marvel's mutants, embodying the fiery and powerful Sunspot. In today's episode, we'll dive into how Gui approaches the iconic character, his insights into the evolution of superhero narratives, and how the themes of X-Men resonate in today's cultural landscape. Get ready for a conversation that's as electrifying as Sunspot's solar-powered abilities. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Gui.
Bases loaded with the
Hello, everybody. You guys, that was an amazing introduction. I love it. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody who's tuning in live. I think this is my first podcast live at the same time. This is pretty cool. I'm really excited. Thanks for having me.
Very cool.
Yeah, the best part is people will be, commenting and discussing things that they like as well. So hopefully we get, a few people tapping in here and there to make it a lot more interesting and fun at home as well. So
absolutely, I shared right before jumping in on my stories. I said, we're gonna go live on Instagram. Go to the, maybe people will show up. We'll see.
Yeah, so I actually reposted it at the same time too. So as soon as you posted it, I went ahead and grabbed it real quick and put it on our story. So hey, as many people want to come join us for the live, the better. We'll be, having a great conversation regardless if we get no one. So doesn't matter.
For sure.
So we'll get into the first thing I wanted to ask you. So how does it feel to be part of the X-Men 97 legacy, especially stepping into the role of such a dynamic character like Sunspot?
Yeah, the word that it really has been coming to mind that I've been saying a lot is just surreal. Like, it's been obviously fantastic and extraordinary experience all around, but it's quite surreal because, first, for many reasons, I grew up watching the show. I've said this many a times, in Brazil, my mom's kitchen, I not like as religiously as some people here. It was a little bit differently, I guess, the way they showed it in Brazil, the way I remembered it. I was very young, also because I was very into sports, and so quickly I kind of veered off of it, but just playing with the action figures, Wolverine was always my guy. Though I loved Gambit too, and but
yes,
I did.
I gotta give my guy some credit there.
I don't know why if I couldn't find it or didn't have it, but I was never able to get the Gambit action figure. But
hard to find. There were. It depends if it wasn't. Just to jump in, Toy Biz didn't make a lot of the Gambit. They made just the more popular characters. Toy Biz made a lot of Wolverine, a lot of Cyclops.
We'll tap on this a little bit because I got a lot that I want to say about him and all the stuff on that. So we'll let you finish telling us about the experience, because when it comes to my guy right there, I got quite a few things that I'm kind of a little bit.
I love this. But, I'm loving it. No, but that's cool. Maybe that was really the reason. But and so so that's one. But just also, I don't know, to be very honest. Obviously, this is massive. So when I got it and I started doing it, it was, such a joy and a big responsibility to be joining, this IP and this world that everybody knows. A big fan of the movies. But I did not. I don't know. I did not expect it to be what it's been, or the repercussion that it's been having, and. So that's quite surprising, and so just outstanding, experience, and like I said, surreal, because it's still oh my God, is that what's happening? We're breaking records, and it's almost I don't know, it's a transforming culture in its own way, and so it's
You're
pretty...
absolutely correct, because if you look at it, who are the subscribers to Disney Plus?
Us
millennials, us that are 30 years old and older. We're the ones watching the cartoons on Disney Plus. It's not the kids. The kids are watching Super Kitties and the other little stuff that's on there. We're watching, also
because those are we're getting Disney because of the kids, right? So the majority of the 30 plus all need to have Disney.
Exactly.
They need to just go ahead and just make a sub a sub what is it? A sub app Disney 30 plus.
Oh yeah.
You know, no, but look,
PG-13 and up.
jumping in, touching on what you guys were just saying. I think the combination is perfect. I think like okay, so it being a good show, the storytelling, the writing, obviously the voice acting, the compositions, it being good, and then also having the millennials, right?
Mhm.
We were those kids 30 years ago who watched the show, and now we
Yes.
have it's like our parents or the grandparents. They gave us the keys to take care of the kingdom, and we're
Mhm.
just gonna add an extra garnish, kind of swag it up a little bit, and make it a lot better than what it was before, while paying homage to the original source material. I think personally, Disney, Marvel, whoever nailed it. And I think also what you guys have done. This is a different reference, but it's when Mario 64 came out.
Mhm.
Mario 64 came out and it changed the face of what is called sandbox gaming. So when
Okay.
Mario 64 dropped, Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, then moving forward, like all the different games of sandbox gaming, and it changed the landscape of gaming
Right.
forever. So considering the fact that you guys have all these episodic, these amazing episodes, and it's dramatic and it's storytelling and it's making sense and it's not for kids, it's for us. I think you basically raise the bar for other people to basically follow suit,
Yeah.
leading by example, thus creating such something, a masterpiece. And I've already told this. I told this to Bowser. Be expecting those Emmys, man. Be expecting those ginormous awards, those accolades, the crazy work. Just be prepared to have your name etched in stone forever, brother. And you did a fantastic job, man. And we
Well,
we
thank
we're
you,
rooting
thank you.
for you
But
all the
but
way,
like you
man.
said, it's like it's the work of so many people, but
Yeah.
obviously, the creators in this coming, primarily first from, the mind, the soul of Bo Mayo, right? Like,
Yeah.
the writer and, creator at first, and then obviously the whole team and so many people. But it's just, yeah, I'm just overjoyed and honored.
Mm-hmm.
I will not stop saying it, because it's just, I don't know any other way to express it, and so grateful to be a part of it, in this giant, machine and world that's just touching so many people. I mean, this week's episode it's been all over, right? But it's just like, I was again just so surprised by what people were saying on Twitter or X and Instagram, and all the articles coming out and people reaching out. I mean, it's been wild, wild. The
Mm-hmm.
comparisons people have been making. So yeah, and how it's touching is touching people at a different level.
Yeah,
I can
Which
tell
definitely.
which
you
which
your
which
following is
art?
going to go crazy. Your
Huh?
following is going to be probably 100K before the end of the year. Trust.
Well, you got to use your powers first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Gotta show us what you can do.
Yeah.
What part of
Yeah,
Brazil are
right.
you from? Are you from Sao
Hey,
Paulo?
what?
Are you from Sao Paulo?
I am from Sao Paulo originally,
Okay,
yes.
Very
nice.
good. Very cool.
Yes.
Nice.
But I love the heat nonetheless. I mean, it's like Sao
Me
Paulo.
too.
I'm not from the capital. The capital usually it's, it gets, chillier, at the end of the
Right.
day, or even, in winter time. But yeah, man, I just, Rio usually it's just hotter, but like I don't know. I'm all about the heat weather and
I'm the
and
same
and the
way.
sun
I prefer to be hot than cold any day of the week. I'm like, burn
any
me
day of
up.
the week.
Burn me up. I don't care how hot it gets, I'll tolerate. But I'm like, when it's cold, I'm like, no, I don't want it.
I know. I've
So
gotten better though since moving to the West Coast. I've gotten
yeah,
so much better. And funny enough, last year I got really into snowboarding, and I love snowboarding. So I actually do
Nice.
love the snow, but just for the sport,
There you go.
mhm.
Same way.
So what aspects of Sunspot's personality and his backstory you find the most compelling, and also how do you incorporate it with your everyday, or actually, how did you incorporate all of those things into your performance?
Hmm. Yeah. So what I find most compelling is definitely, I think, the core of, the feeling different, and the bullying that he was receiving, because of his race and
Right.
all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and having, to deal with it, as a teenager,
Right.
which a lot of people do, for that same specific reason, and maybe for other reasons, right? Gender or sexuality, whatever it is. So that to me is definitely the most compelling, which is the core, really is the core of Roberto, right?
Right.
I, fortunately enough, I didn't experience that growing up, but I had similarities in different ways. And I also, I posted, I guess was today, um because somebody shared on Instagram, like from the first episode, just such a beautiful moment that Roberto has with Jubilee. And he was just expressing how he feels, feeling different and not being able to share with the parents, right? Jubilee's like, oh, your parents don't know, right?
Right.
And then he even says like, oh, being an X-Men, like I don't even know how to be myself. And I'm like, who can relate, to this? I'm really curious to see who have gone through that. I personally have been very fortunate to have very loving parents, that supported me all the way, loved me a lot, and so my environment was very loving growing up.
Nice.
But I still, had my share of, getting
Challenges.
bullied, getting bullied in a different way, or feeling, like an outsider, right?
Mhm.
Which is a lot of what this, team is all about, and what the X-Men represent, right? All the outsiders, all the minorities, and having
Yeah.
a voice, and having their powers.
Hmm.
So that to me definitely the most compelling.
And with you saying that made me think of something that probably has a reason to do with the success, or I'll say that's probably a big reason to do with the success, because a lot of us do have those different things. A
Hmm.
lot of kids that watch cartoons did get bullied for liking certain things. It was not always seen as a popular thing as you got older. So now having all these different races, these different mutants, these different backgrounds, it gives you a place that you can kind of fit in when you're watching X-Men, so it makes you feel like, hey, oh, he's different. I'm like him. And everybody has their favorite. Everybody has the person they relate to the most, so they all
One
have
hundred percent,
different ways they see it.
but wildly enough, it's also what happened in the '90s, right? I keep
Right.
hearing like that's really what the whole boom was, and hearing from like the likes of Lenore, the
Right.
original cast, from the original series, from the animated series, is like we didn't know how big it was going to be. We didn't know if it was going to
Mhm.
work, and then how it resonated, and now it's repeating itself 30 years
Right.
later. It's wild, and that is one of the most beautiful things when I read stuff online. And for me particularly, with Roberto, it's the whole like seeing, like, how many times I heard already, like seeing a Latino represented in this world, right?
Yeah.
And I
Hmm.
see myself in all these things, so it's just really beautiful.
I
Wait.
respect that.
Let's hold on. I just gotta get this out the way, man. There's two things I wanna talk about. Two things. First of all, episode one, right? Let's talk about Cyclops moonwalking all over the place, shooting the optic blast and rescuing you. They get Batman level right there. Two.
That was pretty
The
cool. Yeah, they said like how they
Yes, had him
they
moving
found a
around.
way to have him use
Yes.
this. Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
whole episode was just, I'm like, Scott, he did it. That
they definitely
they
turned up everybody's
they
character
dialed
so
him up
far,
big
as
time.
far as the way that they structured and
Yes.
gave each person their own story thus far that I've seen.
I like Morph a lot.
Morph is
I'm
Oh,
liking
definitely nice.
Morph.
He's
I'm
definitely a
loving
nice
Morph.
character.
Morph is
I'm
amazing. And
loving
look,
Morph. And
JP.
well played on his whole. I like what they gave him, the changeling, his original, his comic form, and then the whole non-binary thing. Well played, because it makes sense. It makes so much sense,
No, but
right?
everything has been
Oh,
making so much sense. It's been so clever. It's really
yes,
out. I mean,
yes,
that's the masterful, the mastery of it all. And by the way, JP, whose voice is Morph, is just
yes,
incredible, amazing, so talented. It's really wild. I mean, the whole
yeah,
cast. It's
yeah.
really,
Most
yeah.
definitely. No.
I don't know if they can see what's
Oh, there.
going on here.
Oh,
No,
there
no.
it
Little
is.
So
Now,
visual.
as I listen. Okay, the Motendo episode, right? Hmm.
I saw the
The
little clips. I
Easter
was like,
eggs
yes,
were
yes, yes, yes.
so on point. On point. The Easter eggs were on point. I was just like, okay, we have the Genesis games. I seen a little bit of Children of the Atom. I saw a little bit of classic anime in there. I saw a little bit of like I feel like I was watching Gem. Like I don't know. Yo, good job, man. Good, amazing job. A lot of folks were that I know. Oh, the episode wasn't even. Nah, you're
No,
missing
it
the
was
point. You're
fire.
missing the point.
Whoa, yeah.
That thing was jam packed for how many minutes? It was like what
30?
13? No. It
Oh
was
no,
it was a split. So it was what, like 10 minutes, 12 minutes.
15. Yeah,
You
something
mean
like
that bit before it goes to Storm?
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
it was like 15 minutes because
Yeah,
it was a
I think
split.
it was.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, I
think
think it
it's
was more
about
than that. I
24,
think it was
25
about 20
minutes
minutes, or
total.
yeah.
Oh, a little bit more. Okay, well, the whole idea when I saw Mojo, I'm like, oh man.
No, amazing, just
And I was waiting
outstanding.
for Long Shot to come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, and then to see, you know, it's even cooler. I just it hit me. I was like, oh damn. In Deadpool, that's Long Shot's brother
Oh
in
yeah,
Deadpool.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You're right.
It's crazy. But anyways, great episode.
And
I love.
I also been like saying like how wonderful the arc so far that we see in each episode, but now so far the five that we've seen,
Yeah.
the
Right.
arc that we have between them, right? So
Yes.
meaning, like this fun, this a lot of nostalgia, even
Yes.
more, pumped up on number 4,
Hmm.
knowing that number 5 is gonna hit you, it's gonna slice you, right?
But I.
And
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
I just think it's so brilliant.
I like what they did. I like how they're doing it too. Because I don't know if you know this. So I think it was during. I don't remember what season it was, but a lot of the episodes used to get mixed up. So like
Oh
you're
yeah,
waiting
yeah,
for,
yeah, yeah.
and I
I
saw
read
what
about
I
that. Yeah.
noticed what they. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so we're gonna get the continuation of. Nah, you got a
Yeah.
completely different episode. Now you got to wait
Yes.
3 episodes to see the. Yeah, I was like, oh snap! I see what y'all did. Okay,
No,
and also
I
to keep the audience watching. The intros are different. That is so
every
cool.
time there's a
That is
little
so cool,
something.
man.
So
Yeah.
smart, so smart.
The team
That
is
is
crazy good for this. That's all I'll say. The team is very good that's put together on putting this show back out. Whatever team, whoever's all the different people, they need to do more shows, more movies, structure the stuff because they're really good. So, speaking on that, can you share a memorable moment from the recording sessions for X-Men 97? What's the atmosphere like behind the scenes?
uh look, it's super fun. I've said this a couple times too. Like I recorded by myself, right? Never
Yeah.
met anybody in the booth, and I think the majority of us did it that way. I think like my number one moment is really gonna be my very first day. I was nervous, and it's a beautiful studio, and it's all red, which I
Okay.
love. It's my favorite color. It represents to me fire and all this stuff. And I walk in, and we have the iPad with everybody who's on the call, and Bo was there, and then our on booth director Meredith Lane, and Jake, our director, supervisor, producer. I mean, so many people were there. And so just even though virtually, but meeting them and just like hearing them say, look, like them being thankful to me and grateful to me, where I was like, guys, thank you. It was such a wonderful moment. But then to hear like this is your character, this is you. We
Right.
are we want to serve you. It was so special. It's giving me goosebumps again because I hadn't really never, I've been wanting this for a long time. I still do in the on-camera world, but
Right.
it was the first one that really happened at that, something at this level. And to have a team like that to like, hey, we trust you, and let's do this together. It was so special, and it
Yeah.
was so wonderful to collaborate. It's such an exchange of trust, and I trust them. I trusted them 100%. They have the bigger picture, the vision of it all. So I was just there to serve. I really wanted to serve them, but they were so open, specifically with all the Portuguese, Brazilian stuff.
Mm-hmm.
To hear my input and stuff like that. So yeah, that's gonna be number one. It's always, and then after that, as you start to know each other a little bit more,
Right.
coming in, then it just becomes even more fun and more relaxed, and you're there to play. And sometimes it's, you go in for the first time for a new episode, then you come back to redo something. There was a couple times I was going back for to do like the same part or similar, and sometimes I could tell the line changed and whatever, fine. But I remember asking, I was like, "Am I fucking it up so badly?" And they were like, "No, no, no." It's like, and then recently I heard from some of the other castmates that it happened to them as well. So I was like, "Ooh, okay, okay." It's part of the process, but
Exactly. Everybody's human. Stuff happens.
it did cross my mind, and I'm like, but yeah, it's just been really wonderful
That's
all
good,
around.
man. That's super
Yeah.
cool. So as Sunspot has a dedicated fan base, how do you connect with how do you connect with them? How do you connect with the fans and your portrayal of Sunspot? And have you interacted with any of the fans who love the character or just feel grateful for you being them, or someone that's from where you're from being excited about you
Yeah.
portraying the character?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like I've been doing my best. Like I've been saying this as well. Like I don't take for granted, the fans' time and also care and love,
Yeah.
for the X-Men, for the project, but for Roberto. So I have connected as much as I possibly can. It's been overwhelming, and I'm learning to manage more and more. But I also been waiting for a time like this in a way through the years of studying and wanting to be part of something that had resonated so much. And so I'm like, this is it, game time.
Mhm.
It's happened. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful. So I do as much as I can. I respond, I comment, I go, you know see what people were saying. Some people, because through the years, listening to interviews with uh, celebrities or A-listers and whatnot, you always have I'm sure you guys have heard this, a lot of people who are at that level, they will not look at things, or they will not, want to read the reviews and all that stuff. And,
Right.
and I get it on one level, but I also heard, I forget who was like, "Oh, my first time, I definitely did it." And I obviously wanted to do it anyway because it doesn't affect me. I respect people's opinions,
Yeah.
and thankfully, this is coming to me at an age that I feel so much more secure
Right. You're
in
confident
myself
who
and
you are.
in
Yeah.
what I do. Yeah, and I'm honestly curious, but and so far it's been so positive, which is obviously so nice to get. But there's its shares of criticism and stuff, and it's valid and it's totally fine. And as long as it's not disrespectful, I'm always commenting. I'm like, it's like you
You
have
have the
you.
same approach that I have with it because I do YouTube like movie reviews and things too. So I'm like, you could disagree with me, you could say whatever you want, you could call me like different things, say I don't know what I'm talking about, whatever. I don't care. It's just as long as you don't cuss at me or like really just go
Yeah.
all the way off the wall. I'm like, we can have the discussion. Your opinion is valid. I'm okay with it.
100%. Like what, and then those that are not offensive, I'll
Mhm.
respond, and not in a way to. I really try to clock it to not be like out of my own ego, or
Yep.
to in my own arrogance or anything like that. Really, in humbleness, and really to try to communicate and connect, and just to say, hey, this, it's because of this and that,
Right.
and then it's just to be able to reply in that way, so. But again, I've been very fortunate that the majority, in a lot of people from the states, a lot of people from the states. It's just been wild. I mean, some people in Brazil too. No, nobody from my hometown yet, or necessarily from Sao
They're
Paulo.
coming. Don't worry, they're coming.
But for sure, I keep getting more and more. Especially since this last episode. Funny enough, even though Motendo
Mhm.
was the big one for
Right.
Roberto,
Oh, so, yeah.
but
Nintendo.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, we'll see where it keeps going. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm very humbled and very, very grateful.
I can definitely tell by your personality that you're somebody that's not, too big headed with who they are as a person. And it's great because the way that you're out talking now and the way that you speak, I can see that you're passionate about what you do and you also care that you do things the right way. So it's
Oh,
definitely
thank you, man.
noticeable and that people people are going to gravitate towards it. I'll tell you that. Like I said, I'll be checking back with you by the end of the year. I know you'll be at least 100,000 on Instagram. Trust me.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
what have been some of the challenges in voicing an animated character? And conversely, what aspects have you found surprisingly rewarding?
During the process of recording it,
Yeah, just or even just like when you're doing the show overall, like what would you
uh-huh.
say are the things that challenged you or were rewarding for you?
The number one challenge, it was now, now we're good, but it was like finding the accent, and the mixture of things. So, and this is part of the big reason that's especially from Brazilians from Brazil that I get online. I started when I auditioned, not knowing, right, that I never my sides had Roberto da Costa. I never clocked
Okay,
it. I didn't know the character by that name, to be very
right.
honest. So never knew, right? Never knew. So I did a version with my regular accent, which these days, by the time that by the amount of time that I live in the US and so much
Mhm.
like speech lessons and all this
Same,
stuff.
yes.
Like I sound more American than anything and very neutral or whatever, right?
Hmm.
So I did one take with my regular natural accent speech, and then one with a Brazilian one, which is very is a thick one. I can't do like a very subtle one. I have to go like thick. So
Deep,
then when I
deep Brazil.
yeah, deep Brazil, like not like 100% like fresh off the boat, but like very much so.
Give us
And
a sample. Let us hear a little bit live. Let the fans hear
yeah,
what you can do.
because um to speak in Portuguese, we have a lot of these like chi sounds, and so it is not very easy for the ear of the Americans to hear and to understand, and it is kind of crazy, so like that chi sound is so pronounced, and
Yeah,
it's and it's the one that's the easiest to do, and the most characteristic. So that's the one that I lean onto. There's always like when I do my Latin, not specific from any region because also they differ, but just
right.
like a Latin accent,
Hmm.
there are certain words and sounds that are like so important for me to, like
Pronunciate. Yes.
pronunciate to make me sound more like from that region. So I didn't know which one they wanted to do, but I was like, hey, I want to represent Brazil. This is like, I want to do like a Brazilian accent. So I
Yeah.
started doing that. But I think right off the bat on that first record, I was asked to like, can you tone it down a little bit, tone it down. And even when I did like dubbings and stuff like that, that's often what happens, and I was
Uh,
like, damn, like I can't make it so like Brazilian.
yeah.
And so I did that, and then it was like, oh my god. And then as it continued to time started to pass, and I went back to like to the Marvel database. I mean, I had done that. I had done a lot of like research with the database, and also YouTube videos and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it really, I clocked it. It came to me. I'm like, just like happened to me, and it happened to a lot of people that I know who grew up with parents from different countries.
Hmm.
They don't have accents in their in the languages that the parents speak.
They're native. Yeah.
Some do, but they're native because they from so early on they grew up with both languages.
Right.
And that's the case of Roberto, right? Mom are American, father Brazilian. Also, the status of the father being a millionaire and all this stuff, probably, studied the best schools and all this, so it's like, it made sense to me. It's like, oh, wow. Yeah, I don't have to. I really don't have to. It makes sense. And this is an American show, so
Hmm.
I'll just
Yep.
speak the way I speak. Um, when I'm doing my English,
Right.
and then here and there, a couple times, I'll throw in a little something. But I had started doing the other one, so I was very nervous, and I don't. And then I discussed with the team, and they like, yeah, let's do it that way. This sounds great. And then a couple times I was uh, brought back, not necessarily because of that, but I was like so happy that okay, I can redo these because a lot of lines change and whatever. It's like great, so I can use this accent that I've been using, and I feel more confident on. But that's why I was so nervous at the premiere because I'm like, I don't know. Like, is it gonna be all mixed and stuff,
Right.
and not be kind of like balanced, but definitely was. Obviously, they knew what they were doing. But that to me was it was very nerve wracking, and the same thing with everything that was in Portuguese. Because in Brazil you have, like, the U.S. is so big, you have different accents. I'm from Sao Paulo. You have Rio.
Yes.
He was born in Rio. The accents are very different.
Right.
And I remember discussing with the team, especially the R's and S's, just like in here, like are sounds that are the ones that change a lot.
Yes.
And I was like, this is what would be if I'm from Rio. This is what it would be if I'm from Sao Paulo. And they're like, yeah, for the S, it's just a little too much. Let's go with the Sao Paulo version. So, it was all about having a discussion. And then I'm like, yeah, that's okay too, because though, when he was playing soccer, when his powers, when he, when he's 14 playing soccer, and then he gets that, the whole altercation with the racism, and he gets the powers, that's in Rio, right? So it's like, okay, he grew up, he was born in Rio, fine, but his father's from Sao Paulo. It's not really, you can't say he never lived in Sao Paulo. He could have lived in Sao Paulo for a few years. You don't know.
Right.
It doesn't say he grew up in, specifically in Rio, and that's where he has always lived. But
Mhm.
that's hard for people in Brazil, and especially people from Rio, because it has we like Rio, Sao Paulo is
The
very
tension.
much like this, right?
Yeah.
So I got a lot of that, because in the end, I sound way more Sao Paulo when I speak Portuguese, with the exceptions of a couple little words and
Words. Whatever.
moments, which I want to have a little bit of that combo. Maybe sometimes because I know a lot of friends with Brazilians that will travel a lot and whatnot. We pick up so many different accents all of a
Yep.
sudden, like, right? So you have a mixture, but that to me was definitely the most challenging one, and is the one that I was like most worried because of the criticisms and whatnot. But I feel very confident in the choices, and it's okay. People can obviously disagree and say stuff like that, and that's totally
Absolutely.
fine. Now,
And
if I were
that's
to, which I did not, I'm not doing the dubbing version in Portuguese in Brazil, which I wish I did. It's cool,
yeah.
it's having the opportunity. But maybe that would have been different. That would be like, oh, I would probably most likely, I don't know, either do a mixture or maybe do something more Rio, but also a Rio that it's just like when on TV where people have like more neutral accents, like TV hosts and stuff, right? People
Yes.
like
Yeah.
here in America, right? They
Right.
could come from different parts, but everybody has a more neutral thing. So that would
Mhm.
probably what I would lean into. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. It's definitely a way to go, especially with the accents. The cool part about that is that you will have the controversy between the two different areas, and that also fuels the show even more. Plus your fandom and things like that, because people are going to debate in the comments like, "Oh, this is Sao Paulo. No, this is real." Oh, you know what I mean? So it already kind of puts that battle in there because you already know, like soccer, which is football to you guys, is already a big thing, and every different community has their
Yes.
team, and just seeing your jersey, they're already like, so it's the same type of thing with the dialect. So it makes a cool little vibe to it.
I was trying to what he just said about soccer and football. I was trying to reference that the whole Puma thing, the Adidas
To
thing,
the football.
to the jacket, to your jacket,
Mm,
because I can see that happening.
yeah.
So if you're watching Puma and or Adidas, if you're watching,
Look, you're wearing something that's very colorful. That could work too.
if you're
Yeah.
watching Nike, Nike,
Oh,
if you're watching,
let's get them all. Let's get them all.
um,
Um, but
Cool.
it's funny because like what you were just saying, like as far as like I haven't gotten like comments or that kind of like battle between like
The
Rio and Sao
banter.
Paulo necessarily the banter. But what was funny is this is like to me is very wild. It wasn't disrespectful or offensive, but it's wild
Right.
to me because some were like, oh, this sounds like AI. Like, or is it like it's probably AI or whatever, right? And then the other one's like, oh my god, it doesn't even sound as like like criticizing Marvel. Like they should have gotten a Brazilian. And then I go and I comment and I'm like, I am 100% Brazilian. And then somebody goes and like, yo, you're not hearing it? Like this is
Right.
like Portuguese native from Brazil. It's wild.
See, and that's the part I love right there, is that they could just have that conversation.
when it comes to that kind of stuff, I don't know. Look, I'm Caribbean American. I'm originally from the Virgin Islands, right?
Oh wow.
And one of those things. There's a film that's out. There's a West Indian legend. He's a Caribbean legend. People complained about the British actor portraying the Caribbean legend. They wanted a Caribbean person to voice and to act in that specific role. But here's the thing. They probably didn't have time to go to that Caribbean island to find actual actors, or they probably had this particular actor who's from the UK, who's look, a lot of the UK and the Caribbean, the dialects and they're very similar. And it's not easy to, you know what I'm saying? So it's not a lot of those slang words and certain words are all it's like drill music and like the drill rap and the grime rap. It's all the same thing. New York rap. It's very similar. And I've had the opportunity to spend time in all those different those regions in the world. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The point I was trying to get to, they should have gotten a Brazilian actor to play Sunspot. You are Brazilian. What are you talking about? But at the same time, why do we have to go and find someone from the region that you're from who's probably not an actor? You've been acting a good chunk of your life and you finally got to where you need to be and you're doing a fantastic job. And they asked you to dial it down so that the American audience can understand you and your accent, as well as your people from your native land can understand you with the accent. Personally, I think you did a fantastic job. You did a great job. You're Sunspot. Point blank, period. Have a good day.
Thank you.
So growing up, did you have a favorite superhero or a favorite comic that influenced you, that influenced your interest in being a part of a series like X-Men 97?
Yeah, like I said, I think my very first one, I don't know, like I was into, like, as a young kid, I was so like wild, so much energy. I watched a bunch of different things, but I can't remember exactly. I was very young, so but I think X-Men was most likely my very first like superhero experience. And like I said, Wolverine is always my favorite. So definitely, you know, that's like my answer to that. Now, wait, what was the other part? You're talking about the X-Men 97? You said you asked something else.
Just like if there was any influences from comics or
Oh, yes.
superheroes that you had, and what was your favorite?
Yeah, right. So Wolverine for sure. I was I was not a big comic, reader, unfortunately. And again, that's mostly, I guess, because of the influence of my older brother, and then coming into the sports so much. But it was mostly the cartoons and TV shows in general. And then I was a big Spider-Man fan too. And then once the 2000s started to hit and the movies started to come out, I was like obsessed with all of it. All the X-Men, all the Logans and Spider-Man, all of them. Those were my favorite things to watch, really.
Well, considering the fact that I am an Easter egg hunter, sir. There was a newspaper that from the Daily Bugle that photos by Peter Parker and the story by Eddie Brock, and there was a bit of a crossover event that happened 30 years ago with the X-Men and Spider-Man. I'm just saying, it's very possible that I know for a fact, or I shouldn't say know for a fact, that this could possibly happen, and you could probably Sunspot share the screen.
Ooh.
What a one Peter Parker. I'm just saying, I'm one of those guys.
Man.
I know stuff, but I don't know stuff. I'm one of those. I'm one of those ones.
From your mouth to the creators in the
to the universe. Hey,
I'm already
universe.
I'm already interacting a little bit with Wolverine. That first episode.
Listen, what's so sick that I love what they did. Back in the day, Wolverine was the poster kid. We know this. He was the guy. I love how they gave him have a seat for a little bit. Let us develop everybody else, and then we'll bring you in. Yeah. And I love that power up, that little super move that him and Gambit did with the what? And then he started running super fast. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
But I did say this. I wrote this on Facebook. I don't know if I think Amalgam. I think the Amalgam Comics is supposed to be coming back, where they did the crossover with the Marvel and DC, where they would bring the two universes together. I would love to see it. Yeah, I would love. Yeah, that happened like 30 years ago. There was
I didn't know that.
It's called Amalgam, and they brought both universes together. So it was Wolverine and Batman, and then there was like the Collide, and there was Dark Claw. They fused into one and they became Dark Claw. It's kind of cool. Captain America and Superman. It was like a thing. But anyway, I was gonna say I mentioned on Facebook. I said I would love to see a covert Scott Summers team up with Batman. Like, imagine that. Like just the way, because I only said that because of how they brought the reintroduction of Cyclops in this new series. I'm like, I would love to see Batman, and I want to see Scott with all black with the black on black. Oh man, with the trench coat. Stop playing, bro.
I don't know if the universe is gonna listen to you on that one, but hey, you never know.
So I'm gonna get into the 1% gripe I have with this show.
I'm gonna walk away. I'll be back.
Bring it on.
Gambit is my all-time favorite. I am very upset with the fact that his accent is gone.
Ooh.
And I'm also upset with the way that he loses the girl.
But did he?
Don't know yet. But all I know is my man Gambit still is owed a movie. He has not got one yet. He still needs more action figures. He still needs more shine in the limelight. And he needs his swagger back. I need him with the swagger. But I will give him credit, though. He was kicking behind in that last episode.
He was.
So I will have to give him credit for that.
I will. Let me skirt real quick. Okay, check it out. Considering the fact that we are in the animated world, we did see the Watcher. So that means they are somewhat near the MCU. I'm just saying. We did see the Watcher. We did see the Watcher.
All I know is I'm speaking to the creators now. My man needs to get some justice, and he needs it now. We have been dealing with this for years, and us as the Gambitans, we are upset.
You have a legion behind you for sure. It's
That's
like
what you become the gamblers.
The gamblers.
The gamblers.
But look, about the movie, I'm with you. You know, it's like, to be very honest, like, bad for me to say this, but it's even in the last few years, you know, with all, I was like, I completely forgot. Like, oh no, more, like, they didn't even know Gambit. You know, like,
that's
and I'm like,
saying.
Wow, this is one of my favorite characters. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess
he's really good.
The cards and stuff, everything that has cards, I'm like drawn to, you know.
I'm into cards, and I call myself the Ace of Spades, so I'm always like playing with that. And I'm like, and then they got my guy here. There's a New Orleans swagger sound, and you know he's suave with the girls, and then now it's like he's losing all his powers right now. I'm like, no, bring him back.
But to be fair, they did do a whole bunch of surgeries on him in the comics to dial his to govern his powers, because he was so powerful. He had a bunch of surgeries done to him to where they would control him so he wouldn't be so powerful. Because his level of kinetic, he can control so much kinetic energy that he can actually become pure energy at a point.
Wow.
Yeah, he can literally become. That's why his eyes are the way they are.
Yeah.
Everything.
I got one last thing I'm gonna say about this. Whoever, and I'm going to make sure I don't say the line verbatim, but because I don't want to spoil it for everybody. Whoever wrote the part where him and Rogue talk to each other and the disrespect that she puts in this man's face. Oh man, I'm so upset with that. Because I was just like, oh.
Well, you got to look at it. You have to look at it both ways.
No, there's no way to look at it.
You have to. Okay, you have to look at it both ways. Well, then again, you know what? This is okay.
Let me just ask you this: if a woman ever tells you, everybody can feel you, but I can't feel you. Because what kind of man does that make you feel like?
No, she can, because she can't physically feel him.
I understand that.
Nor can she emotionally feel him.
I understand.
As he provides her with all the emotions and he provides her with all of the attention.
She shot that man in the heart.
Yeah, and the reason, and the reason being is because the first, Magnus has the ability to his electromagnetic abilities allows them to touch. Yeah, she's a woman, and she's looking for certain By the
I
way,
get it.
happy birthday, Jubilee. I saw what you did, Sunspot. I saw what you did. I saw what you did, Sunspot. Anyway, why don't they just give her?
By the way, I'm still holding my title. My title that is one of my very first, one of my favorite lines of the first episode. Don't forget single. Hey, we're still single here. I don't know.
Well, look, I thought about it for a second. I'm like, hold on, don't they have those inhibitor collars? I'm just saying, give her the damn inhibitor, give her the inhibitor, or bring leech or something. You can stop your powers from working. I don't know, man. Yeah.
That's
a lot of friction going on.
That was heartbreaking. That was I mean a lot of it, like is like not spoiling. I mean it's not spoiling for those who haven't watched, but it's it's all out there, so you guys should have watched it already. But anyway, but it's like it's just like that moment there, at the fire, with the fire pit there. I mean that was like, yeah, it was. I can see how you'd be upset, but I think that's part of the whole brilliance, like the way
That's
the
the thing. It has
episodes.
us all talking. We all have our different pain points. We all have the things we love more. He notices something different than I noticed. We all figure out different spots.
I'm
so he's
here.
like, he was calling me before I watched it. I'm on the road in LA, and he's like, "Hey,
listen,
you gotta watch number 5.
Listen,
it went off like this, that, and I already knew that I was gonna have to be disappointed with what I was gonna see before I even saw it.
Let me tell you what I was doing, because I watched it. I was waiting till I get home. Everyone was texting me, yo, don't you know some of the X-Men? Did you watch this episode? Bro, I'm like, what? No, I haven't. Yo, you got it. All right, cool. So I'm driving home, and I'm like, you know what? Let's Disney Plus this thing up. I'm driving like this, and I'm looking like this, and I'm with my phone.
Don't try this at home.
Don't do this at home, kids. And the part, listen, and when they started fighting, I pulled over to the side. I was at Chick-fil-A. Bro, listen.
Yeah, those lines are powerful. I mean, there's so many powerful lines.
I got a lot of Wakanda vibes when they went to Genosha. I'm like, ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I noticed that I saw a bunch of like obscure characters. I saw Pixie. I saw Marrow. Man,
there was a lot. There was a lot of like I said, Easter eggs. There's a lot of cameos. And did you guys see? Did you guys? I mean, it's been circling on the internet too. But Bo DeMaio and Jake, they both have a cameo there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a line that I caught. I forget what it was called. Dang it, man! It's a line. It's actually a line from. It's a remixed line from what is it Wolverine, X-Men Legends Wolverine, when they go back to, because he was born in the 1800s, right? So when they go back to like the war,
the philosopher is here if you don't know.
when he and Sabretooth were fighting in one of the Civil Wars, there's a line that Wolverine said that the Wolverine in X-Men 97 mentioned to Jean, and it was about drowning in memories. And I'm like, bro. And the Cyclops, when he used the optic blast, I'll meet you on the ground, team. I already knew what he was going to do. You know why? Because in X-Men Evolution, him and Havoc did the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I'm like,
yeah, it's the beauty of it. Those, because they're pooling moments and references from
everything.
Everything.
This is why I said
comics,
whoever
the
this
movies,
team is crazy, because I'm like, I don't know how they're remembering to grab all these different things and keep our brain like this over and over. Like we're constantly going like, hold on, wait a minute, wait, that's they grab what? Yeah. Like it's going in how they put everything together.
And I discovered Scott's optic blast is from a different dimension. His power source is from a world that's powered by his optic energy. Crazy. Yeah.
Oh.
All I gotta say is if we had Cyclops and Superman in the same room, nobody's surviving.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's cool, man. So the X-Men series is known for the themes of diversity and acceptance. How do you think Sunspot's story contributes to these ongoing conversations?
Yeah, I think 100%. As I like mentioned, that I've been so like touched by how people feeling the representation of a Latino in this team and um in this universe is just huge. It's humongous. I mean, obviously, I don't know, the last 10 years, maybe more, we have had this growth and of representation, thankfully, in the movies and TV. I mean, not just Latinos, right, but specifically for me in the sense like the Latino representation. So I think it's huge, and now again without even having that a thought process in the beginning, like the massive hit that
Mm-hmm.
this is, right? And
Yeah.
then Roberto is the one who's it's not only Brazil, right? It's Latin Hispanic
Right.
culture, right? And blood and all that. So I think it's massive. It's massive and it's resonating and people are excited and I think it's beautiful. And again, I'm just so honored and so grateful to be that part, that seed.
When you when Roberto starts getting a little bit more action, and when he starts using his powers, I'm already gonna tell you right now, when you start doing Comic Cons, specifically in Florida, good friend.
Oh, fly,
When you
yeah.
go to when you go to Miami, I grew up in Miami. I grew up in Florida. Okay,
I lived in Florida for 3 years.
what part?
Yeah, I was well. Okay, my first year was in Fort Lauderdale. I know
Yeah,
it's like, but then I lived in North Miami, and two of my best friends live in Florida. I go to Florida all the time. I love
as do
Miami.
I.
That's where my start. That's where I
Well,
began my career. It's
well,
in
dude.
In
So
Miami.
I have a lot of Brazilian friends that I grew up. My youngest brother, his father's Brazilian.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow,
Um. Yeah.
that's
Well,
cool.
Portuguese. I don't know I don't know. Please forgive me,
That's
but they
okay.
speak Portuguese.
Yeah,
And
Portuguese. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, my youngest brother, he just recently got married too. Maybe like last week.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Congrats
yeah,
to
for
him.
sure, man. Florida. Once you start doing cons in Florida, and they know of your background and who the character that you represent, the fan base is gonna go crazy. I can
Mm,
guarantee you,
I'm
especially
excited.
Orlando,
Orlando, yeah.
Lauderdale, Miami. It's like, and I tell
I know
people Orlando is
Orlando has a huge, massive
a facts.
community,
It's
and also
very
like
true.
yeah, and also in Miami, I think it's Pembroke Pines or
And
Pembroke area. That's like a lot of Brazilians too.
yeah, so all of the Brazil like a lot of Brazilian the Brazilian the culture lives Pembroke,
Pembroke, yeah.
Winwood, South, because I grew up in South Miami. I grew up in like Kendall.
Oh wow, Kendall,
Yeah,
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 yeah. Went to
yeah,
Killian High School. Go Cougars.
yeah.
um, but yeah, man. That's cool, man. But I'm telling you, that when Sunspot starts
I
getting
hope so,
going
man. I
crazy,
hope so.
I'm
I look
telling
forward
you,
to.
man.
I
Listen,
look
man.
forward to doing my my
The
con
pride is very
in
strong. I'm
Florida.
telling you.
Heavy Latin community, so you're going to
Yes.
be really good out there.
Yes.
So, how has your career prepared you for this role? And can you discuss any past experiences that felt particularly formative for you?
Whoa. Formative. I guess. As cliche as it sounds, I think everything, literally everything has been preparing me for this moment. Is the only way that I can, I don't know, justify it for myself or the way I believe things, happen in life. Because, like I said, just the way my trajectory and my journey happened, and a lot of things I've been hitting later in life. I started late, this acting thing.
Right.
I wanted to be a tennis professional,
Oh, nice.
and I only in my very first acting class, I think it was like 20, right? And then when I moved to the US, I turned 21, and that's where I really started, and I decided I want to do this thing, so it's a little bit later on. And um I think that everything that I listened, everything that I studied, everybody who the mentors that I had. I've been so fortunate, so lucky, and so everything has prepared me, or I feel very prepared for stepping in the shoes that I'm on
Mhm.
right now. With this responsibility and being part of this group. But I think more than anything, as I said a couple times, just feeling very, very fortunate. And also I think for me, a lot of things in my life have happened in a way that, I'm a big believer in, goals and planning. I'm a Virgo, for Christ's sake. I'm a
I know
big
Virgos
planner,
well.
big planner. But at the same time, things have happened in a way I never expected or planned, and then I just been going with the flow in a way. I think something that I say a lot that um, I feel it's been very important in my journey. It's just like the passion and the love for the thing that I'm doing in that moment. And really I've only had two in terms of career, which is tennis and acting, really. And I've never thought of anything else when I was doing that thing until I had to change courses for acting. But once that happened, that's it. And I don't think about anything else. And so I feel like life and the universe, or whatever you believe in, God and all, the higher power, like has this beautiful, strange, very often hard, challenging ways of rewarding us when we are tapped into the thing that you feel like you want to do. That's the thing that I believe the
Mhm.
most in. You don't
Yeah.
we don't know, and we don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, but if right now is the thing that you love and you feel like you need to do, then that's what it is. And maybe in a year, 6 months, 10 years from now, you'll see something else and the universe will introduce you to something else. And that's how it's happened to me, because if it wasn't for tennis, I would have landed in Venezuela. I would have met my coach who changed my life. Then I wouldn't have become an actor. It's so wild to me. And so I never oh, I want to be a voice actor. I didn't even know that it even exists. I don't know. I want to be
Yeah.
an actor. I want to be in front of the cameras. I want to do movies, which is still my passion, and I will do that until I die. But then things started to you do this, then this happens, and then, oh, they want me here. It's almost just like in life or in relationship. I've been a big believer in this too, and it's like just go in when you're where you're welcomed and invited, and people want you.
Mhm.
So I that was never a goal of mine. I know some people have goals. I want to get into this, and I think that's very powerful too. It was never for me, but I found my way, because I also started with voice work in general because I've been fortunate to speak different languages, and I love languages, right? And so all of a sudden, oh, Latin or Spanish is hot or whatever. It's important that I can speak both. The Portuguese, was never a thing for me because it's not very big. It's gotten bigger. There's
Right.
more Brazilians in the U.S. Even in commercial world, but it never was a big part when I was starting out. But then all of a sudden, you see, it played its part. So I believe in that duality of life where you got to go for what you want 100%, and if you have goals and stuff, amazing, you go hard on that. But also, if you just keep doing with love the best you can, and then it's like water, it's gonna find its way. So yeah.
I'm wondering if what you said about Virgos, and I'm gonna have to look into this because my sister's a Virgo and you're a Virgo, and both of you guys are passionate about tennis. So I'm gonna have to look and see if
Oh,
there's more famous tennis players that are Virgos or something like that. Because
I wish,
you guys are
I
both.
wish. I'm a big fan of Roger Federer.
There we go.
And there was a shirt that would pop on Instagram. Those shirts that said, the legends are,
Yeah.
Virgos, or they're born in September or whatever. And then I was like, oh, there you go. No, 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 makes sense. The Federer, but then I went to check his birthday. It's not September. It's not a Virgo. It's like,
Well, that would have been cool.
All right.
yeah.
So, looking ahead, are there any roles or types of projects that you're eager to explore in this act, which you're in your acting career?
Wow. Yes, a lot. I feel like I also say this a lot, and it sounds like a cliche at times, people who know me, but I truly, truly mean it and believe it and will for a long time, which is I'm literally just beginning. Um, and there's a lot of dreams that I have in terms of like on camera and the movies that I want to be a part of. People have asked me about like my dream role, and I'm like, I've always wanted to be a knight, and I want to be a knight, and maybe one day I still able to do it, and I can be a Latin whatever or Hispanic. Doesn't I don't have to be like from the UK or anything like that. And then somebody even mentioned like
Yeah,
now I can maybe do it like I can voice a knight on an animation. Like, yeah,
That's
that's
very
right.
true.
Maybe
yeah,
there you go. So and now my eyes and my whole being is just more open to the animation world, so I'm now like, oh, getting even more um interested in that way, what kind of like it'd be so cool to do this, to do that. I'm finding, my desires in that way. But look, I'm also a director. I love directing, and I've been directing and acting and producing mostly my shorts for a long time. And a big dream of mine is to do my first feature that I get to direct and act. But I just want to keep telling stories that touch people. Definitely, the last few years, I think, again, with growth and maturity, like I've been finding more of my voice and the representation of me being Brazilian and Latino. And I have a crazy mixture with my mom is from Argentina, my father is Peruvian. It's
Wow.
just like, yeah, it's very, I lived in Venezuela everything is like, to me, is very Latin. So I'm much more interested in that, but also just like beautiful stories that are so touching, that I've always been passionate about, like, true stories and movies that have represented that. And so I want to find those stories. I want to be able to tell and be a part of those stories. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm just beginning. I'm just beginning, and I hope that I continue to be fortunate enough to be part of great projects, great films, great television, that expands not only my career but also the reach that I have.
Uh, I can see it, Will, because like I said, just the way you are, you're very personable, and the
yeah,
way that you talk and smile, it's something that people are going to gravitate towards
yeah.
automatically. So when you do any type of auditions, or you go to different rooms, or you pitch your scripts or whatever, I can see somebody creating your film that you write or direct just based on the fact that they like you. It's going to
Thank
happen.
you, man. That's so
So
kind. You guys are awesome.
yeah,
Thank you.
it's gonna be great for you, and I'm happy to see that you're continuing your journey and it's getting even better.
Oh, one more thing. It's you said you started your journey late, right? No, you didn't. You started it when you were supposed to start it. Because you're
There you
never
go.
too late. You know what I mean? At all. Like, I mean, dude,
Oh,
like, not not
touche.
not not
Touche.
to.
Look, I have to say this. This is so wonderful. See, it's like I love this because I last year with one of my best friends, my business partner, we started this company called Impacto, and it's all about having a positive impact in people. And we were
Yeah.
doing hoodies. I mean, I'm wearing one of, but this is actually not available right now because
Nice.
this is like a test. But and and one of our main slogans is limitless beginnings, because I believe so much in the power of starting again. And I always say it's never too late. Hence why I
Yeah.
say
Never.
I'm just beginning, right? And so now you just pointed out to me, like, yeah, I'm
Well,
like, oh, now it's gonna be here. I'll never say that again. So
What can
thank you.
I?
yes.
What can I? I just want to add because okay, this is about you. This is not about me or him. This is about you, right? But I will say this. So I've always wanted to be a part of the voice acting and the acting, just the entertainment. I started out, I make music, I write songs, I write music, I write, I've done I have songs placed in films, theme songs for TV shows, all that. Then I got into the voice acting while I was acting on a specific type of show. Then I realized the passion was really there. I am a lot older. I'm not 20, I'm not 18. The point is I was able to land a bunch of different things as I stepped into this journey of being a voice actor, right? You've done the same exact thing. You're leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of folks, and you are in a beautiful, sweet spot to where this particular project that you're working on and where you're at is not only gonna like it switched your trajectory to where you're inspiring a lot of folks, man. And for me to reach out and we had this conversation, this rapport, like it was only based off of something that I liked, that I watched, and I was like, yo, I got a guy. I have to see what this, you know what I mean? And it's cool. It's the same thing with all of the other actors and all the other folks that we know. Like we've run into people, we've built rapport with folks, and it's all sincerity and it's all legit. So keep doing what you're doing, keep going, keep moving forward. I'm gonna always root for you. We have this amazing rapport now, the three of us, and just keep going, bro. Like you know what I mean. And you didn't start late. You started when you were supposed to start.
Thank you for
Point
saying
blank
that,
period, man.
and thank you for sharing all of it because for those who are watching and they're gonna listen later, yeah, I mean, you have an amazing freaking voice. You sent
Oh
me
yeah.
like some DMs, like just
Oh, the
playing
stuff in
with
the
the
DMs when I
with
also
the
yeah.
voice message and like playing with the voice, and
Well,
I was
dude, you know
like,
what's crazy? Okay, so I work on
so
this.
freaking good.
I work on this project, this fan project called Batman Just Immortal. Shout out to the team. And I get to work with some of the voice actors from other properties like anime, like Bakugan, and like
Uh-huh.
it's so dope. And I've been doing that Joker voice. One of the voices I do is one of the Joker. I've
Yeah,
been doing
that's
that
what he
voice
said to me, like the
yeah,
Joker voice.
I've been doing this since I was 12. Like I was 12 years old. You know what I mean? And like, and it, you
See?
know, so yeah, but I mean, like, bro, like
And
again, man.
you're a living proof of that as well because see you did this, you did that, and like, but you have a
Yeah,
passion for this, so it's just never late. It just
yeah,
never
it's
is. It
never
just
late.
never is.
And we live in a, and we live and now we live in a world where we have so much unlimited technology, so much information. You can do it yourself, create your own little thing, and then
Yeah,
somebody will see it and they would want to be a part of it, and then all of a sudden, boom,
one
you're the
hundred
it.
percent, one hundred
Exactly.
percent.
Yeah.
And the passion that people have, like I met, through, since this started a few weeks ago, I met Lucky at the premiere, I think, but he's so passionate about Wolverine, so passionate, and reached out to me. He's always, his whole page is about Wolverine, and took some photos, and then chatting on Instagram, he's like, hey, I have this movie, this short film I'm raising money for, because I want to play this part, and like he put the whole thing together. I'm like, man, this is so cool. So like I shared, I donated, and I'm like, he was so stoked, and I'm like, dude, this like this looks great. You did a little like 30-second, 20-second clip. It looks so good. I'm like, yo, just like supporting me. Like that's what I've been doing for years, and I have so many friends with me. So like, and people like love these characters so much. They're doing it their own version. I also met like a director recently who shared with me like a short that she did based on Gambit and Rogue.
Nice.
And it's like wild. I'm like, man, I just love the passion. That's what it's about.
One more thing. I there's a group. Is actually they're good friends of mine. Um, Cassie and Joshua. They have this company called Casanova Films. I'll share the links with you, but they work on these X-Men shorts and they're really good. And they
Wow,
actually
send it to me,
I will.
please.
And I messed one day I sent them a message. I was messing around and I was doing Hank McCoy. And he was like, dude, you can do Hank? And I'm like, yeah. And then he was like, you want to do it live action? I'm like, what? I go on. Yeah, I'll send you the scene. It's myself. There's our buddy Dalton who plays Wolverine. He looks just like him. Shekinah who
Wow.
does Jubilee looks just like her. But they're like it's so spot on.
Send it to me. Send it to
I
me. I love
will
to see it.
most definitely will, man.
Cool.
So since he said spot on, if you could have any of Sunspot's powers for a day, which would you choose and why, and how would you use it in your daily life?
Oh my god. Oh, hold on. Okay, look, I'm gonna have to go obviously with like
Nah, because you
not
gotta.
obvious because look, it's so cliche, it's so simple. I'm not gonna choose that, but I will say it here because like growing up, my main thing I wanted to fly, but so many can do that, and it's like, eh.
But
So
hovering is
definitely,
cool.
I
Hovering
know
is
it's cool.
cool.
It's
Hovering
cool.
is cool.
It's cool. It's cool. But his unique like blasting, absorbing, the power of the sun and all energy, solar energy, and then blasting fire like that. Like I think that would be for sure because I think it'd be so cool. The ways I could do it. Which represent like it could be in the mixture of like a Spider-Man thing, or it could be like Sub-Zero or a Scorpion. Like Scorpio. It's like so many different ways I could do it, and I could just like if I don't like something, I'll just set the thing on fire. You know.
The existence is gone.
Yeah.
So, we're glad to have you on today. go ahead and let everybody that's watching know where they can find you on social media. Also, let your fans back in Brazil know. So, if you want to say things in Portuguese to them as well, shout out anything that you have working in the coming months or anything that you already have done, and let people just know how they can reach out to you and interact with you and have some fun.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much. This was an absolute honor. So much fun. It's great to meet you guys
Absolutely.
virtually at least. And so thanks for the opportunity. I'm mostly on Instagram at Gui Agustini1. It's AGU. People get confused with August, but there's no U in the middle. It's just Agostini. I'm also on X, the same handle, Gui Agustini1. But I'm mostly on Instagram. Hit me up, say hello. Let's connect. And that's where Facebook, it's there, but I barely
Right.
see it either. So it's mostly Instagram. And next week I'm very excited because and nervous as I always am. But next week I was part of I was part of a new TV show, a CBS TV show called Elsbeth,
That was bad.
and
Ah,
I'm part of the fifth episode. And it airs next week on Thursday, the 18th, and I play a professional tennis player.
Ah,
So
nice.
it's full circle. It was like a dream role that happened, and so I'm very excited. So tune in, check that out, and yeah, and I mean, I have a couple shorts. One that's entering the film circuit. One's called To the End, and we're waiting for the response of Tribeca, which would be our first goal, festival. Finishing editing another one. It's a dramedy called You Are Funny, and I just shot one in California. Well, not my first one, but like big one, like, and it's been the biggest production I've had in California end of January, called West Texas Home, and we're starting editing. Actually, having my very first sit down with the editor tomorrow, so I'm very excited, and I'll keep you guys posted on those. So keep following me there, and when there's screenings here in LA, I'll definitely be there attending, and would love to see people join and meet some of you guys in person. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we
Oh, and for
definitely
my folks in
appreciate.
Brazil, if you're listening,
Yes.
obrigado, vocês são demais. Valeu pelo
bad.
apoio.
Brazil.
So we definitely appreciate you coming on that type of talk. And I'm K Good, and this is,
Kahende, ATO Worldwide. Hello.
and we will catch you guys on the next episode. And this is Gui Agustini, and he'll be back in the future because we'll definitely be keeping tabs on his career and the things that he does going forward. And who knows, maybe one day we'll get all of the X-Men cast in the same room and we can do a big, smash up podcast.
That'll be sick. Live though.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do that. We don't have to do that in studio. We're there live.
Yeah, we gotta make it happen for
Ooh,
the people.
that'd be dope.
Yeah, man. You know, would you be